It's a brand new day with Mo and news. It's time to have your say. She's got the scoop, the stories, all the latest trends. Mo's got the news, let's hear it. My dear friends, from politics to showbiz, no story's too small. Mo covers it all. She's got the inside call, her voice so smooth, like honey in the summer sun. With Mo on the mic, you know the news is always fun. Mornings with Mo, the best newsy news in the world. With her style so classic and her stories unfurled, from morning till night, she's got us in the know. Turn on your radio, let Mo's newsy news flow.
Hey everyone, it's Mo. It is the 22nd of November, and we have so many stories. A lot of them are actually kind of legal related this morning, which is kind of cool. But let's get into the introductions. Welcome, Wolfram. Thank you for your mod duties. Good morning, Christine, and Tammy, and Alice G, Janie J. Let's see here. Colorado Mountain Girl, Swifty, Jojo, welcome, welcome. So, oh, and Sammy spills the tea. Welcome. So, looks like we and Siobhan, we are America. I shouldn't say we because I have international viewers too, but which is so odd to me because, you know, if you had told me 2 years ago I would have met someone from Sweden and someone from Denmark, I would have said, is it in prison? Like, what did I do? How did I do this? And was there an exit door? But this is so cool. I would never have imagined I would have gotten to meet all the people I did before I started streaming. But America is bracing for a big old snowstorm right in the middle of trying to drive to everyone's family's house to get some of that. Let's be real, y'all. Maybe it's just me and my addiction to carbohydrates, but we're all there for the pecan pie. Pecan is better than pumpkin. I know it's heresy, but that's my story and I'm sticking to it. A powerful winter storm is set to create chaos, and New York is right at the center of it. Well, as you can see, my little state right here is just going to be blasted too. So it's not just New York. Thank you, New York Post. Winter weather alerts were issued for parts of New York State and a bunch of the upper, northeast. But New York State, I get it, New York Post. Forecasters say that up to 8 inches of snow may fall in part of the state, while other areas may likely be drenched in some much needed rain. Snow will break out mostly across Pennsylvania and parts of central New York State, and there will be heavy, wet snow throughout Thursday, Fox Forecast Center meteorologist Greg Diamond told the Post. Precipitation is expected to pour down on the tri-state area through at least Friday night, possibly into the weekend. Areas expecting snows include parts of northeast Pennsylvania and south central New York State, as long as, again, these countries that we shall not name because they're not New York or Pennsylvania, but that is West Virginia, that's Ohio, and Indiana. Looks like Chicago and Wisconsin are also going to get hit. So, start making your plans if you live in any of those localities. I will be just having Mr. Mo bring in a bunch of firewood, and I will be taking up, center spot next to the fireplace. That's what I plan to do. But if you are planning to travel, just a little heads up. It does look like I'm going to show you a more inclusive map. But it does look like, all of these particular areas are looking at a pretty big storm come Thursday or Friday. Oh no. Okay, are you on a Can they send help? I feel like you're my kid. I'm like, okay, stay on the phone with me until someone comes to help you. And unless they're a, a police officer and they show you their badge, do not open the window, do not open the door. Swifty, good morning. I'm sorry. I get started on that. I get started on the stories and hopefully I get everyone, but sometimes I don't. Welcome only fan. Like it and audio coffee. Oh, good. Okay, I love it. I go directly into mom mode. Like you lock your doors and you don't answer to anyone. And I'm aware Fundine's probably taller than me and stronger than me, but I'm like, you do not answer unless they're a cop. I have 6 kids and apparently I've adopted all of you guys. So don't answer the door if you're on the, or don't open your door, don't get out, don't, do anything crazy if you get stuck on the side of the road. Now, a record-breaking 80 million people are expected to be traveling more than 50 miles from home for Thanksgiving, according to AAA. There, that is an increase of 1.7 million people compared to last year and 2 million more than 2019. So, if you're going out and there may be some weather stuff, just, make sure that you're taking your time, you're being careful. And remember, there are some people that see snow and forget that, forget how to drive in any such place. Probably so, greedy bloke. Probably so. In our next story, well, looks like we have the last meal order for the death row inmate, unalived, a third execution by nitrogen. So I wonder if the second one went any better than the first, because I know the first one was kind of an S show. It took about 20 minutes. The man seemed to be struggling very much. I grapple with how I feel about the DP, but I don't want it to be that much of a painful thing, which is odd because we're taking your life. But then when I'm on at the trial and I see all the heinous things that this person has been, you know, accused of, and especially in the Jose Ibarra case, basically has all the DNA for, I'm kind of like, okay, we'll run Lord Chippy extra slow. But interesting. Let's see here. A death row inmate was unalived Thursday night by nitrogen gas, but not before a Tex-Mex style last meal and a profane rant directed at the execution staff. Carrie Dale Grayson had been on death row for more than 28 years following the 1994 murder and, well, it looks like mutilation of a 37-year-old hitchhiker, Vicki Lynn DeBlacks, who was traveling from Chattanooga, Tennessee to her mother's home in West Monroe, Louisiana. Grayson's DP began just after 6 p.m. at the William C. Holman Correctional Facility in Atmore, Atlanta, with the curtains of the, chamber were open. The 50-year-old was brought in and strapped down to the table before his death warrant was read by the prison warden. A microphone was brought up to Grayson for his final words before he went into the rant. For you need to F off, Grayson said as he pointed his middle finger on his left hand. The microphone was immediately taken away, which Commissioner John Hammond explained was because Grayson's behavior towards prison staff throughout the day. Oh, thank you, Swifty, for the super chat, and I did see that, but thank you again for being a supporter, and dear Lord, I need to get more organized. Are you one of those people who buys a bunch of organizational supplies, and then you get them and you're still disorganized, which somewhat defeats the point? Thank you so much. Let's see, he cussed most of our employees tonight, so we're not going to give him the opportunity to spew that profanity, Ham said, according to the outlet. Grayson's attorney and spiritual advisor revealed that her client had more to say, including admitting he had committed the horrible crime and he felt sorry for it. Well, have you ever heard of an opening statement, a filler bit, and then in conclusion? Because if he had said, like, opening, I'm real sorry, I done did it, you know, I probably deserve this, maybe just a scotch. And then he said, but the prison people suck all the donkey and they need to F off. I mean, that's what you call a closing. You don't start with profanity, you end with it. Although I guess I'm not going to teach him any more lessons now. Grayson also went after the prison system and said the state was committing murder and are serial killers. Casey Caton told reporters after his death. Nitrogen gas began to enter the respirator Grayson was wearing at 6:12 p.m. and flowed for 15 minutes. As the gas was being administered, Grayson shook a few times before taking periodic series of gasping breaths. He was pronounced no longer alive at 6:33 p.m. This is the 22nd this year and the 6th in Alabama. Grayson's death was the third time a death row inmate has been unalived with nitrogen gas, a controversial method in which the gas replaces breathable air, resulting, from you basically passing away from lack of oxygen. For his last day, Grayson refused to eat breakfast and lunch, opting for coffee and Mountain Dew. His last meal was soft tacos, bean burritos, a tostada, chips and guacamole, and a Mountain Dew blast from local restaurants. Grayson was part of a group of 4 teens who offered DeBlue a ride, but then abducted the mother of 2 and brought her to a wooded area where she was attacked and unalived February 22nd, 1994. Oh, thank you, Jedi Jess. I will need that because I am going to be doing the deposition in which both, Owens and Sarah Boone say that the expert just done lied all the things that they did. So we're going to read that deposition, and I'm going to find where this wily state expert done bamboozled and confused Owens. Because we just need to make sure, check, because maybe Owens has a point. I mean, however off in left field that particular, assumption is. So the then 19-year-old Grayson, 17-year-old Kenny Loggins, no, it's Kenny Rogers that has the rotisserie. Never mind. No, I'm pretty sure it's Kenny Loggins' roaster. Anywho, and Trace Duncans along with Louis Mangione. What the hell? We have Kenny Loggins and a Mangione? This is not a real case. This has to be a real case. 16 brought the victim to to an area near the Medical Center East in Birmingham, where all 5 drank before the teens began to attack her, according to LA.com. The teens left the scene, leaving her body behind, where Mangione was dropped off at home as the 3 remaining ones returned to the scene. Her body was then stabbed over 180 times as the teens opened her chest cavity, severed all her fingers. Oh, yeah, no, sir. What I was saying in the beginning, I would like to... Oh, good. Kenny Rogers. Oh, Kenny Loggins did Danger Zone. I knew. Because I love Archer, I knew it was a name. I'm like, I wasn't wrong. I was just right in the wrong way. Okay, now I can see why this dude needed... Okay, sir, I respectfully withdraw my support for you not having or for you having maybe a more difficult passing, because after what you did, holy God, you opened her chest cavity, you severed all her fingers, broke her face and head, and then removed all but 1 tooth. Sir, no. During the teen's 1996 trial, a medical examiner testified that her face was so fractured that an early x-ray of her spine identified her. Mangione was gifted one of her fingers before he promptly showed it to one of his friends, who then called police, according to the outlet. Chuck Mangione? Mangione was given a life sentence, while Loggins and Duncan's death sentences were commuted to life imprisonment in 2006, leaving Grayson the only one of the group to be unalived. Her daughter, the victim's daughter, Jody Hadley, was at the unaliving and remembered her mother. She was unique, she was spontaneous, and she was wild. She was funny, and she was gorgeous to boot. Haley, who was only 12 when her mother was unalived, said, said Grayson was abused his whole life, including having lit cigarettes put out on his skin and being SA'd. I have to wonder how all of this slips through the cracks of the justice system, because society failed this man as a child and my family suffered because of it. All right, I'm getting really tired of this, and I'm not going to disagree with her as a victim, but as this whole premise that society and the world are responsible for this man's actions. There are people that go through horrific, and I do mean beyond horrific, things in their childhood, and I wish it never happened. But a lot of them go on to be good people, functional people that, don't use it as an excuse to commit this kind of crime. I am so tired. You want to know what stigmatizes mental health more so than anything else? Every single person using it as every single criminal person using it as an excuse to kind of delegitimize their crime, to their involvement, to divorce themselves from responsibility. Every single one of us has something that has tried to break us. It's different for each and every one of us. But what stigmatizes mental health more than anything, in my opinion, and this is my opinion alone, is people using it as a damn excuse because they couldn't control themselves. Haley blasted the unaliving, saying eye for an eye method is not right. Quote, unaliving inmates under the guise of justice needs to stop, she said, adding that no one should have the right to take a person's possibilities, days, or life. I respect her. Her family was most affected by this man, but let me tell you if my family was most affected by this man. Can I pull the lever? I would like to be there. I will make my own hood. I can crochet, but can I pull the lever, Your Honor? Because that's about it. It's a reason, but again, there are so many people that go through the same thing. I didn't have the bestest ever childhood, but you can learn to be a sword or a shield. And yeah, the Child Protective Service needs to absolutely get its head out of its behind and actually start looking at some of these cases and not making family reunification the only goal. No, Jedi Jest, don't get me wrong. There are some mental health disorders that do impact the control and such, but that's not what this kind of blaming is. No, true legitimate, like schizophrenia, undiagnosed, true legitimate, severe bipolar disorder. I get that there are delusional disorders that are really make you almost not be able to function in the real world. That is absolutely what I'm not talking about, or not what I'm talking about. I think, in my humble opinion, and I am not the smartest person, the justice system has changed the way they view the kind of factors leading to crime, but hasn't changed the prison system. So my point is that if you have all these people with mental health issues, then maybe we should have a system that's better, that doesn't go to recidivism. But it is getting tiresome, and I will tell you that at myself and other people that I talk to, there's becoming a compassion fatigue. It is becoming increasingly hard for me, and I have to check myself a lot to remember that there are contributing factors. But I get so tired of, Susan Smith was the latest one, and I watched a little bit of her parole hearing before I realized it was going to make me speed faster than Mario Andretti, and I was going to get a ticket. And like hell am I going to let Susan Smith let me get it, or make me get a ticket. Although it would be me controlling the speed pedal, it would still be. And they talked about the stigma to mental health and the stigma to this. And you know what's also a stigma is when people sometimes inauthentically, callously, and calculatingly use mental health issues as an excuse. I can understand it being a contributing factor, but that want to basically get no punishment because it wasn't me, it was my mental health. That is getting hard to have compassion for. But there you go. Now, for another person who is hard to have compassion for, though I will say, Mr. Smollier, Mr. Juicy, if I could call you that, thank you for contributing to one of the best Dave Chappelle bits in my entire lifetime. It was hilarious, so thank you. Jesse, or Jussie, I'm sorry, it's not Jesse, it's Jussie. Smollett's conviction was overturned, all the plot twists in his long-running legal case. Jussie Smollett's hate crime hoax case has taken another sharp and surprising turn. The Illinois Supreme Court overturned the Empire actor's conviction on charges that he staged an istophobic and ism attack against himself outside a Subway restaurant in Chicago 2019, then lied to the police about it. The court determined that Smollett should never have been charged with a second time for the same incident after initial charges against him were dismissed in an agreement with Cook County prosecutors. Quote, "We are aware that this case has generated significant public interest and that many people were dissatisfied with the resolution of the original case and believed it to be unjust," the ruling states. Nevertheless, that would be more unjust than the resolution of any one criminal case would be a holding from this court that the state is not honor bound to honor its agreements upon which people have already or have detrimentally relied. The ruling does not address the validity of Smollett's claim of innocence according to the Associated Press. It did cite Bill Cosby's case, referring to it as one the public had a strong interest in and involved enforcing a prosecutorial promise not to prosecute. Smollett, who is both African American and gay, claimed that two men yelled all the Istonphobic things and splashed him with bleach, then put a rope around his neck and, beat him a little bit. He claimed that one said, "This is MAGA country." There was a high-profile search for the suspect, with two brothers, the Osendero brothers, being detained. Prosecutors later claimed that Smollett had staged the attacks, paying the Osenderos, who were acquainted with the actor. Smollett was in prison at one point, but 6 days into a 150-day sentence in 2022, he was released pending his appeal, which was filed in 2023. In the bizarre 5-year saga, here are some memorable twists and turns. And I'm not going to get into all the twists and turns because I think I have reported them here sporadically. But I think that the Supreme Court, as disappointing as it is right here, because if we change the rules, if we change our basic principles to go after Jussie Smollett, then we can change them to go after Richard Allen. If I'm as mad about Richard Allen and how the rules were played fast and loose and fairness was kind of put to the door so we could get a conviction, in my opinion, then we can't, I can't be mad if the courts played fast and loose with this case and now it needs to stop. I have to have the same principles, as hard as it is for me to deal with. And Jedi Jess, our resident lawyer, says, this was the right choice in this case, even if the original agreement sucked. Pretty much all diversion programs, first-time offender programs, operate the same way his agreement went. So she does put it in perspective. I don't like the choice, but I understand it's probably the right one, unfortunately. Well, look who's back in the news. Old not dead dad from Uzbekistan. The dad who faked his own death and fled to Eastern Europe reveals how he did it after cops find him through a mystery Uzbek woman. A Wisconsin man who faked his own death, ditched his family, and fled to Eastern Europe has been telling the cops how he pulled off the bizarre stunt but he will not say if he's coming back. Father of three, Ryan Borgward, vanished during a kayaking trip in August, leaving his forlorn family fearing the worst after he never came home from Green Lake, about an hour and a half north of Madison. But last week, Green Lake County Sheriff Mark Poldo said at a press conference that the 45-year-old fled to Eastern Europe, and now Brugwart has opened up to the police about how and why he faked his own drowning demise. Because, get an Uzbek girlfriend, need to flee, fake your own death. During the trip, Bugwart overturned his kayak, chucked his phone into the water, and paddled an inflatable boat to shore, according to WYFF in Wisconsin. Then he rode an electric bike 70 miles south to the state capital, where he boarded a bus for Detroit, then another for Canada, before hopping onto a plane, the sheriff added, what in the spy versus spy are we doing here? Poldal, who said Bargward has spoken to the cops almost every day since November 11th, even sent authorities a video of himself in his new digs. I'm safe and secure and no problem, Bargward said in the cell phone video. I hope this works. The cops are still verifying his account, but they said they're happy he's okay. His wife and children, probably not. Welcome, beautiful Bernice and Dan Segosi? If I messed up your name, Dan, I am very sorry. I can barely read real English and fake English or any sort of English as my first and only language. I still cock it up 90% of the time, so I am sorry. No, the great news is not that he's alive and well. If I'm his wife and children, I'm kind of hoping that, he passed. Because, oh hell no. He could be charged with a crime for obstructing an investigation into his disappearance should he return, the sheriff added, but there have been no charges filed yet. Meanwhile, the cops are pulling at his heartstrings to convince him to come back to his family. Christmas is coming, the sheriff said. What better gift for your kids than to be here for Christmas? Your kids don't want you back home, I'm pretty sure, sir. I'm gonna go on a limb and say, oh, hell no. Investigators initially thought that he had drowned in the lake, which can reach depths to up to 200 feet, the network said. But as the case wore on, the sheriff's office began to scour his computer, which not only put them on his trail, but showed that he'd been talking to a woman from the former Soviet Republic of Uzbekistan. The sheriff didn't say what he knew about the woman, but he did say that cops contacted Bogward through the female that spoke Russian. He had also taken out a $375,000 life insurance policy in January for his family, the sheriff said. The vanished expat has an apartment wherever he is, but authorities aren't sure how he's managing to support himself. Oh, this dude is just like the sheriff. Would you please come back? His wife. You want to see the start of my Snapped episode? He better stay in Uzbekistan. Could you imagine your husband faking his own death? Yeah, there's a video of him in his apartment in Uzbekistan. So they do have proof of life. Now, Sheriff, I understand that you want to reunite this family, but I'm saying as a practical person and a female who understands a grudge and hatred, you might not want to come back to the U.S. Your wife has probably started training in Taibo and kick your ass dough, okay? I would stay in Uzbekistan if I were you, sir. Oh, Lord. I don't know this person. I know he's a YouTuber. That's about all it is. I understand that he enjoys fake facial hair. So I kind of want to give him a point. But apparently, body cam Steve Will Do It caught trespassing at Universal Studios wearing a huge fake mustache. I have no idea, you guys. Probably Jedi Jess. But I'm just saying they better take him into custody immediately. Otherwise, there is going to be a Homer side on the menu for Thanksgiving or Christmas. On July 10th, internet personality Steve Will Do It, De Leonardis, snuck into Florida's Universal Studios in spite of an active trespass warning, and yet somehow, someway, security managed to see through his elaborate disguise of a cap, sunglasses, and comically huge black mustache. Quote, "It draws attention to you for sure," the arresting officer told him in a banter-filled video, later saying, "It's too thick, it looks fake." The Orange County documents, dated November 1st, showed that he pled no contest to a misdemeanor count of trespassing. Adjudication was withheld. Body cam shows him acknowledging that he should have waited a month before returning. He recalled a date of August 7th for the active trespass warning. Indeed, documentation that is visible on Orlando Police body cam shows an expiration date of August 7th, 2024. "It's just bad timing," the mustachioed social media personality said. Court documents said that trespassing warnings stemmed from a prior trespassing allegation from August 2023. Orange County records show no criminal case in that matter, but in reference to the incident, a man in the body cam described Steve as last time appearing intoxicated and saying some things to some of our employees they didn't appreciate. "The reason I got caught at Universal was for being lazy," the social media personality wrote on July 11th on X. "I went lazy and it effed me. I could have done what I've done in the past and get professional makeup done. This was a lesson to me to not be a lazy piece of ish. How about stay out of places you're trespassed from? I mean, you could hire a professional makeupologist, or you could just stay away from places people don't want you." So now, as of his November plea deal, he is barred from Universal Studios for another year, and he must handle all the court costs. I'm okay with that. I told you guys this was going to be a heavy legal day because, I found a lot of stories that were legal-ish, but how an 80-year-old crosswording juror caused a mistrial in a Florida Home Depot murder case. A Florida judge has granted the defense's team's motion for a mistrial in the Home Depot murder case because of a, quote, "unhinged juror," end quote. After more than 5 hours of deliberations earlier this week, an Escambia County judge called a mistrial for Sheila Agee, who is accused of helping her son unalive the mother of his child at a Pensacola Home Depot store last year. Quote, "A particular juror was not treating this case or has not treated this case during the evidence with the seriousness they should have, and is apparently continuing during deliberations," Judge Coleman Robinson told WKRG. The problem reportedly began when juror Sally Sue Smith was caught with a word cross puzzle during testimony. You have got to be kidding me. I mean, I get it. It's not part of, jury duty is not always the glamorous and exciting thing. You have to sit through days where it's just, foundational witnesses like, okay, I got this and this is your chain of custody. Okay, well, this person won't be talking about this particular piece of evidence, but we do need to make a foundation of how we got it. So I get it. I'm a nerd. It's exciting to me, but it's probably not exciting to other people. But you did kind of, raise your hand and swear you were going to do a good job, which you don't seem to be doing. On Tuesday, Smith was found working on a crossword puzzle during witness testimony. The next day, she was found using another crossword puzzle during deliberation. Smith told WEAR News that the puzzle, quote, "helped her focus and denied any threatening behavior in the jury room." "It was me," Smith told WEAR News. "Well, I didn't know it was a bad thing. I do that when I concentrate and I'm listening. You couldn't see the bench or the witness stand very well because it was dark, but I could hear it, and that's just the way I do. I just do that. I had no idea that when they told me I wasn't supposed to do that. I stopped. And then today, when I went in the jury room, I had another crossword puzzle. Jurors also later shared concerns about their safety during deliberations with Judge Robinson. Quote, it's just a single piece of paper with a crossword printed on one side and not sure what's on the other side, Robinson said. I can't recall a juror doing a crossword puzzle during a trial. Judge Robinson later questioned each juror, calling them in one by one and asking if they felt safe to continue after concerns were relayed to him by security. Nearly 20 witnesses took the stand, while it took prosecutors less than 2 days to rest their case against Agee. However, due to juror issues, the trial was, quote, hindered beyond repair. Smith didn't say what her decision was on the verdict, but denied any threatening behavior. Quote, we retired to the jury room and started to deliberate, Smith said. It became obvious to me right away that I was in the minority of 1 versus 11 people. At first, I started out reasonable. A lot of shouting, and I can shout too. I do have a loud voice, but I was being shouted down by a lot of people, Smith added. Agee, 51, was charged with principal to first degree premeditated murder after the police discovered text messages allegedly showing her help plan the shooting death of the mother of her son's child, 18-year-old Brooklyn Sims, who was also Sheila's co-worker. Her son, Keith Agee, 20, was arrested by Escambia County Sheriff's Office in connection with the deadly August 11, 2023 shooting of Sims. Quote, according to text messages, it is clear that Keith Agee's mother, Sheila Agee, knew and participated in the plan to unalive Brooklyn Smith. Additionally, text messages between mother and son highlight the mother's involvement in helping locate the victim. The department released the alleged text messages between the mother and the son on its Facebook page, claiming they took place right before Sims was shot and unalived. Quote, the murder itself is unbelievable, but to know that the mother knew about it and helped coordinate it is incomprehensible, Sheriff Chip Simmons said previously via Facebook. The case is expected to be back in court February the 5th. Quote, another jury will have to come back and listen to the evidence in front of another jury, and where hopefully those certain members will follow common sense and will follow the law, will treat their fellow jurors with decency and appropriateness, and will reach a verdict, whatever that may be, that is fair and just but for both sides, Robinson said. Now, I will say that as a person who cross stitches or generally finds it easier to focus, at least audio, I'm an audio learner. I take copious notes, and that's how I tend to learn things when they're being presented to me. When I was on jury duty, I love it. I have my own villain arc where when I was on the jury, in order to keep myself focused and not to drift off into my ADHD kind of ramble, I will take copious notes. I think for a single day, and when it comes down to it, a 4-hour trial, I'm not joking, about 4 hours, I had 27 pages legal pad notes. And everyone was like, you're just taking notes after notes. And I was like, no, this is just how I properly, can ADHD kind of things. So it's, the physical writing it down, and then I can remember things. And my teachers used to get mad at me because it would look like I wasn't paying attention, but then I would verbatim repeat what they had just said to me. Now, it's a weird thing. I don't know how I do it, but I do take a lot of notes because it does help me just stay in the moment and pay attention versus kind of, are her pantyhose falling down? Why am I here? I could be doing something else. So it is really, I can't believe I can understand why you would want to bring a crossword because some of these are boring, but I don't get, the victim's family, the mother who lost her life and left a child behind, and his father's going to jail for unaliving his mother. that family has to again go through another trial where they talk about the, whole crime, what these two inhuman people allegedly plotted. And those are the biggest victims in this. I don't care if I'm bored for a couple hours, if, you know, I have to take the time and I, rose my hand to do jury duty. I don't find that to be an incredible, ask for me to pay attention and do my job, because I raised my hand and I said I was willing to do it. Well, I want a bedazzled, jewel encrusted donut, damn it. Why don't I get a good, cool donut? A New York bakery is serving Italian donut bedazzled with gold and jewels to high-end clientele. This puts the dough in donut. New York City has been the home to some of the most ostentatious eats, from the $28 chicken nuggets at Kodiak to the sip and guzzle $150 Wagyu burger. Now Angelina Bakery is serving arguably the crown jewel of Lush Confections, a $300 gold and jewel encrusted Italian donut. I mean, is the donut good though? Offered exclusively at the Sweet Shop's Lower East Side location on 3rd Avenue, this ritzy sweet is actually bedazzled version of a bomboloni, an Italian beignet that is dusted with sugar and filled with pastry cream. Interesting. Instead of the usual accoutrement, this golden masterpiece is adorned with edible diamonds and pearls and baptized in 24-karat gold flake, evoking an edible version of the gem display at the Metropolitan Museum, per a now deleted post on their Instagram page. The bejeweled baked good even comes with its own vintage Tiffany box to complete the effect. It would seem to be the ideal dessert following gold flaked sardines at the fantastic world of Portuguese sardines, Empire Steakhouse's golden fries, and a myriad of other examples of NYC's ever popular gilded gastronomy craze. The three-figure pastry may sound like a conspicuous consumption in the inflation-ravaged Big Apple. However, Angelina Bakery's owner Tony Park disagreed. Quote, "The clientele up here, the Upper East Side, is high-end. So the new bomboloni, it seems perfect," he told Page Six, adding that these hidden gems are selling like hotcakes. This sweet seems par for the course considering Angelina's past stunts, which have included serving ice cream from a custom Fiat car and serving Valentine's Day burn cakes, where the top layer is ignited so that it burns away to reveal a hidden image or picture. Although it's safe to say that this, donut takes the cake, customers must pre-order the high-carat confection at least 2 days in advance. That is a question that I've often wondered, but I don't know. It just, I don't get it. It doesn't even look all that cute. I mean, I don't know. I'm not spending 300. Now, here's the funny thing, and it goes all back to that kind of beliefs thing. $300 on a donut? No. $300 on a couple of, really mint in box Sailor Moon figures? So I get it. Some people are going to spend this much on a donut because it's important to them. And I would spend more on Sailor Moon because, well, I mean, who wouldn't? I'm just kidding. Because it's important to me. So who knows? Now, my most important thing. Are you on the is your city, your state, on the most clogged list, ahead of Brown Friday, which I did not know was a thing, but kind of makes sense. So, Brown Friday's America's most clogged up cities. Number 1 is Los Angeles. Number 2 is Miami, Florida. Number 3 is Nashville, Tennessee. Number 4 is Sacramento, California. 5 is Baltimore, Maryland. 6 is Las Vegas, Nevada. 7 is Minneapolis, Minnesota. Uh, Crap. Well, I am talking about crap. So if you see your city pinpointed on the map, then make sure that you know, let me see, any cities in Texas. Yes, it looks like Houston, Texas. Probably a couple. I'm not going to lie. My kids are doing a food drive, and I will be going out probably this evening or this weekend to stock up on some good food that I know that they're looking at. I know they're going to get a bunch of cans of people just like emptying their cupboards out. So I want to go to Aldi's where my money will stretch more and get a couple flats of, good food that's not expired or things like that that can go into these, food baskets for the kiddos. Well, for families that need help, because I know things have been going way up and it's just hard for some people to keep up. Plumbers in the United States are preparing for Brown Friday, the busiest day of the year for their profession. One analysis suggests that Los Angeles is likely to be the most clogged city. The country's plumbers refer to the day after Thanksgiving as Brown Friday. It is consistently the busiest day of the year, averaging 50% more calls than the average Friday. Plumbing company Roto-Rooter said the main culprits are clogs in the kitchen sink, toilets, and garbage disposals. An analysis by the website Yelp analyzed patterns of plumbing-related online data and found searches for emergency plumbing surged by 65% during Brown Friday in 2023 compared to searches from 2 weeks prior to Thanksgiving and data from 2 weeks after the holiday. Yelp dubbed Los Angeles to be the clogged capital of the United States, with plumbing-related searches surging 73% on Brown Friday, followed by Miami with an increase of 37%. Nashville was the next city, followed by Sacramento and Baltimore. Roto-Rooter offered some advice for avoiding Thanksgiving weekend plumbing catastrophes, including keeping fats and cooking oils away from the sink, wiping grease out of pots and pans with a paper towel before washing them, and not putting potential clog-causing foods such as poultry skins, celeries, fruit, and potato peels down the garbage disposal. I've only done one of those things, and it's potato peels, and I still contend that we just need to make disposals stronger. I want an Evinrude outboard motor on my disposal, and I can just, spark that puppy up and, everything goes down and around. But there you go. Those are the stories, but I do have some funny just stories from around the house today or this week. So on date night, now I was not intentionally trying to be a butthole, okay? I would like to put it out. I was not intentionally trying to be a butthole. Mr. Moe and I were sitting there, we're watching King of the Hill as, the most romantical thing that a husband and wife can do. And I'm sitting here, and all of a sudden he's got his phone up and he's saying, auras, auras. And I'm like, what in the hippie hallucination are you trying to listen or trying to look up? Now, I said that. I said, what in the hippie hallucination are you trying to look up now? What I didn't know is that my husband was on a voice to chat sort of talk with his guild in one of his, it's a game he plays. I don't know. I don't know about. So his entire guild is apparently wondering what the hell he is talking about. And I am over here. Did I handle this as a good Christian wife and apologize? No, I was snort laughing on the floor, rolling around, dying laughing. Because, so then he looks at me and he's like, I was like, that didn't go out to everyone. And he's like, yes, and everyone is wondering why I'm talking about hippie hallucinations. And I was like, well, I thought you were just talking to Siri, and I didn't know why you were asking about auras. Because Mr. Mo is about the or the Hank Hill of this area. So I'm like, why are you talking about auras? You have never struck me as someone. And he's like, it's for the game, damn it. Now I have to explain why you said something. I was like, again, but I got my karma back because this morning, youngest, most feral was saying, I'm your mom to one of the cats. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I'm brushing the cat the way the cat used their moms used to do on top of their head. And I look over from pulling news stuff. Youngest, most feral has taken my GD toothbrush and he is rubbing the cat's head with my toothbrush. And he's like, well, the video I watched you has to use a toothbrush. And I was like, and it had to be mine? And he's like, well, I just got a toothbrush. I figured you weren't using it right now because you already brushed your teeth. I'll put it back. And I was like, throw it away. Throw it away. I will buy a new toothbrush when I'm out. And he's like, I don't understand why you get so upset with me. I was trying to be nice and be a mom to the cats. Why are you so mean? And I was like, I'm not mean. Just you could have not used another toothbrush, like not one that I use. And he's like, well, I didn't know where we have other toothbrushes. And I was like, well, you could have asked. He's like, yeah, but you would have said no if I'd used your toothbrush. Okay, well, then it's still going to be a no. And for those of you that I shared on TikTok, this will be the first year that I am not going to be doing all of the Thanksgiving stuff. 19 years. So I remember the first time I made a turkey. Again, I did not realize that the giblets and the turkey peen was always stuck in the little cavity. So I just popped it in there and, came out with kind of a well-cooked turkey neck and some well-done innards. But looks like we are definitely doing ready-made stuff. I am picking up stuff. There are a couple sides that I'm still going to do, but this year I am fully surrendering to, you know what? If we can pick it up ready-made, I am okay with it. Then so I don't know how you guys do Thanksgiving, but my Thanksgiving thing has always been to let each kid pick out one of their favorite foods that they can have on Thanksgiving. Now, most of them tend to stay with like the sides that are kind of normal and things like that. So for my oldest daughter, she doesn't really care right now. But for my middle daughter, it's, having the green bean casserole and then for my oldest son, he's like, I just want mashed potatoes and gravy. And then you get to my middle son, who's like, I'd like cinnamon rolls. Then I'm like, for Thanksgiving? And he says, duh? And then my youngest wants shrimp. He would eat all the shrimp. He loves shrimp. He wanted crawfish, and I'm like, look, you either get shrimp or nothing else. I'm not having you dehead a crawfish at the Thanksgiving table. So you get shrimp or shrimp. But that's kind of how my Thanksgiving is going to go. And if I don't see you before then, but I definitely most surely will, I will tell you guys to have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I am going to let you guys go for now so I can take a quick bio break, rotate laundry, make sure that dishes are in the dishwasher going, and we can get to this deposition because it is about 83 pages, but it's double, spaced and things like that. I want to see where this expert done hurt Owens. I need it. And I'll bring the snark, you bring the snacks. So I will see you guys in a couple minutes. Have a wonderful day. And if I don't see you, have a wonderful weekend. Bye, you guys.